Okay. So the Residential Sound Installation Committee meeting will now come to order. It's May 12th. It's about 9:31. So can we first start with a roll call, please?
Sure. Bensonville,
Here.
City of Chicago 41st Ward,
Here.
Des Plaines,
Here.
Melrose Park,
Here.
Norwich,
Here.
Park Ridge,
Here.
Rosemont. I saw Don somewhere. And Schiller Park. We have a quorum.
Okay, let's do a quick pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice.
and justice for all. Thank you. So let's move to the approval of the minutes for November 18th, 2020 meeting minutes. Do I have
I'll make a
motion?
motion to approve the minutes.
Need a second?
Second, Rosemont seconds.
Okay, Jeanette, let's do a roll call, please.
Sure. Bensonville,
Yes.
City of Chicago 41st Ward,
Yes.
Des
Yes.
Plaines,
Yes.
Melrose Park,
Yes.
Norwich,
Yes.
Park Ridge,
Yes.
Rosemont,
Yes.
and Schiller Park. Thank you.
Maybe I should have asked if anyone had questions on those on the old minutes, but it has been a while, so I have a feeling we're going to revisit this information. Is that correct, Aaron?
Yes, Chairman. We're going to give you a full debrief today.
Awesome. So let's move on to the phase 17 status of the O'Hare RSIP.
Okay.
Aaron, please.
Doug Blanchard, would you like to make that report?
Yes, I will share
Thanks,
my
Doug.
screen here. Hopefully everybody can see that right now. I will zoom in. I just want to make sure everybody can see. It's probably hard to see here. So this is O'Hare Phase 17. It's a little too large. Just as a reminder, the only thing that is ongoing for Phase 17 is the historical homes in Chicago. And I just want to point out a few things here on this report. The enrollment happened a long time ago, and there were 19 homes that did not enroll. There were 38 homes that did not enroll, and they were invited for Phase 19 after the fact. There were 132 home inventory appointments completed. But since those were completed, 2 homes did not really proceed with participating. So we were left with 130 homes. So that's what's going to be included in a construction contract. A little reminder that that contract was advertised for construction bids in June, on June 17th of 2020. And the bid opening date was September 17th, and several bids were submitted. And the city did initiate hiring a contractor in January of 2020, but that process is still ongoing. Just so everyone's aware, we did send a status update letter to these 130 homeowners, just to give them a little bit of update. We know it's been taking such a long time to get the work done in their homes. So that update just kind of explained what happened over the last few years. Some of it was due to the odor issue in the vinyl windows and confirming that there are no health effects from the windows, and developing specifications that could be used going forward to help assure that that issue would not happen again. So hopefully a contract will be awarded this summer, and the homeowners were notified of that. Hopefully prior to the summer. The city of Chicago is working on final preparations for awarding a contract.
So so 130 homes included in 17, phase 17, and what was that, 40 So there was 38 and then 2 more opted out. So there's like 40 that weren't completed.
Correct. And when we get to phase 19, I'll point out that those people were re-invited to phase 19 because we're going to try and do some additional historic homes then.
Okay.
All right.
Doug, scroll up so that Chairman can see the top of that column.
Yeah, that's this historical.
I see it. Oh, there it is. Okay. Which we know the historical homes are harder to repair and insulate and get the proper materials.
Yeah, and Chairman, just a reminder, the state of Illinois, the Historic Preservation Division has instructed us that we are supposed to treat each home with a like for like strategy. If
Right.
the door, if the front door is wood, then we have to replace it with wood. If the front door has already been replaced with something other than the original material, we are not required to restore it. We are
Oh, I see.
simply to replace it. So for example, if 20 years ago they replaced it and there's a fiberglass door, then we are okay to replace it. Same thing with windows. We were actually surprised at the number of vinyl windows in this historic district. So if they have vinyl windows now, they will get new acoustic vinyl windows. But if they still have wood windows, they will get acoustic wood windows. Doug, are there any metal windows or doors like steel or aluminum? I kind of
Yes.
thought maybe there were.
There are a couple of homes that have steel windows in them, and we're going to repair those windows, and we're not going to put in new windows. So that was the acoustic treatment that we're going to be
Oh, I
doing.
see.
Yeah, so Chairman, like I said, the SHPO State Historic Preservation Office has said, whatever the material is, vinyl, wood, aluminum, steel, we need to replace it with an equivalent.
Right. I understand.
If it is not replaceable, then we have to basically send a letter to the state asking for clarification or direction. We've done that over the years as part of our preparation. But if we need to do it because we have a field condition, then we are prepared to do that.
Excellent. Thank you for the information. Okay, so Doug, are we done with 17? Can we move on to 18?
Certainly. Okay, so I'm pulling up the phase 18 report. There's a lot more information to go through on this one. So I might spend a little bit more time. This is harder to see, so I'm going to try and zoom in a little bit, but not too far because we want to kind of walk through everything.
That's good right there, Doug. Keep it on that %.
Okay, so I'll pan left and right as we look at things on the report here. Phase 18, the total homes so far is 528 that were eligible. I'll walk through where we're at today. I'm not going to go through these numbers. I'll go through by community for the people who are still enrolled, but I just wanted to point out on the, oh, it looks like my heading is incorrect. No, it's correct. I was confused by the 38 here, ignore that. So just a reminder, we did homeowner briefings back in November 2019. Enrollment deadline was January of 2020. So far, participants enrolled to date are 399. So in Bensonville, there's 72 homes, Chicago 104, Des Plaines 25, Norridge 1, Park Ridge 43, Rosemont 5, Schiller Park 86, Wooddale 47, unincorporated Cook County 15, and unincorporated DuPage County 1. So those homes, when we subtract that from the people who were eligible, there's this row here is did not enroll. Just wanted to point out that all of these 125 homes broken down by the communities with individual numbers, they were all invited to phase 19. So a little bit of a progress. As you know, the COVID-19 pandemic put a little wrench into some of the work, and the next section here is the home.
I would say a big wrench.
Yeah. So I want to let you know what we have been doing. A reminder, I know we talked about it at the last meeting. We do have a a COVID-19 protocol in place to identify things like a questionnaire for our staff and also for the homeowners, asking them if they have a temperature, if they traveled out of the country or to states that are at higher COVID-19 incidents and things like that, and requiring our staff to wear PPE, face masks, gloves, foot coverings when they go into the home. So that was put in place to help protect the staff, help protect the homeowners, and help prevent the spread of COVID-19. So one thing I do want to let you know is we did start to figure out when we could go back into homes last fall, because we did have a stay-at-home order in March of 2020. And we tried to figure out, when do we make the determination of going back into homes? So we came up with an idea that was reviewed, discussed, and approved by some city departments. We are monitoring the COVID-19 positivity rate by zip code. I'm hoping I can share my screen here. I'm trying to pull this up. Okay, here it is. I want to show you what we're looking at for this positivity rate. We are using data from Northwestern University because we found this is a good place that we can check information consistently for every zip code around O'Hare and Midway airports. I know you guys are worried about O'Hare. I want to show you a couple examples here, just so you're aware of how we're doing this. So I'm going to pull up a zip code here. This one happens to be Schiller Park. And we pull up this data. They give us some data for a 7-day rolling average. So right here it says 7-day. Here's the rolling average COVID-19 positivity rate. As of yesterday, May 10th, that zip code had a positivity rate of 9.66%. We've created a threshold of 5% or lower. If a zip code is at 5% or lower, we will go into homes. If it's above 5%, we're going to temporarily stop appointments in homes. So just a little bit more point of this data. If we scroll down here, they show us the past week, prior week. So May 9th, 8th, 7th, 6th. And it shows that their positivity rate is different for each day. So back on May 3rd, they were at 4.8%. So we could go into homes within that zip code, but the subsequent days are higher. So we stopped doing appointments in that zip code.
So Chairman, you can see that this, scroll back down, Doug. So for the last week, you can see that this zip code has not had a good week in terms of positivity. A week ago, they were fine. They were in the green at 4.8%.
Right.
And throughout the week, it's gone to yellow and now red. So as Doug said, we track this regularly because it's very important for us to get back in as many homes as possible. And we use this tool because we can look up each of the zip codes and get a consistent data set.
Right. That's pretty interesting how they were able to pull that off. So are we sure how accurate this is?
Yeah, I'm sure this is accurate. They do have some information that says where they're pulling their data from. Some of it comes from the Illinois Department of Public Health
Right.
and the CDC. They're taking information per 100,000 residents and using their percentages based on that. So I'm gonna show you one more example. Whoops, I got one too many 6s in there. Oh shoot, I gotta clear all first and then do this. So this zip code is for Des Plaines and Rosemont, although it just says Des Plaines right there. Just wanted to show you one example where the numbers are currently pretty low. So on May 10th, the 7-day rolling average positivity is 2.11%. And if we scroll down, showing this whole week, they were consistently below 3%. So that was good. We are able to get into appointments into homes to do specific appointments in there.
Wow, that's a big difference in zip code rates.
Yeah, it is. And I picked two that were at the polar opposites.
I see. Okay.
A lot of the other ones are right in the middle. And the good news is late trending, there's 12 zip codes near the O'Hare Airport that we are monitoring. And yesterday, 11 of those 12 zip codes were below 5%. So that Schiller Park one was essentially the only one, the only holdout for now.
Interesting. Okay.
So that was it. I just wanted to show you how we're checking those numbers, just to explain why it's been taking so long to get these home inventory appointments completed for O'Hare Phase 18, because as you can see, we did homeowner briefings in November of 2019, and typically we would want to get home inventory appointments done in the next few months. So COVID-19 put a little bit of a monkey wrench in there. We did conduct, just to give you a time frame, we were conducting home inventory appointments between December 2019 and stopped on March 16th of 2020 because of the stay-at-home order. We resumed them in mid-October 2020, but the positivity rates were spiking, so we had to stop again in November of 2020. Then in February of 2021, as we were monitoring those positivity rates, we have been able to get into several homes. So that's why you see some good percentages. We're about 97% complete overall. And if you look at these communities, there's very few we have left to do. There's actually 13 homes. If you look up the differences between each one of these, those are mainly people who are still concerned about people coming into their home for one reason or another due to COVID-19. They may be at a higher health risk and say, I'm not comfortable right now. But anyway, we're in constant communication with those homeowners, and we're trying to figure out when we can get back into those homes. We did notify those 13 homes that we need to get the home inventory completed by June 15th. So just so you're aware, we are trying to wrap this up because we're trying to finish our preparations for construction contract 18B, which will include 174 homes. So that's it for home inventory appointments. I just wanted to point out some of the things on the construction contracts for Phase 18A. We have 225 homes that are going to be included. That contract was advertised for bids on October 13th of 2020, and bids were open on February 11th, 2021. And the City of Chicago Department of Procurement Services is making final preparations to award a contract. So that could be awarded anytime between now and the next couple months. So hopefully we'll be able to proceed with field measurement appointments soon.
Do you know how many bidders there were?
For 18A, Chairman, there was only one bidder.
Oh,
One.
yeah, I'm getting confused with the historic homes. With historic homes, I believe.
And
there were-
Chairman, that bid was determined to be responsive, and the bidder is responsible.
Okay.
So we are comfortable processing paperwork for that bidder.
Okay. Is there anyone else out there that's doing this type of insulation work? That's the only one that we're working with at this time? Is there others?
No, there are other companies who are interested in doing this work. And there were 4 companies who bid on the historic home contract. There was 2 other companies who were looking at this 18A. And we believe that there are probably 2 to 4 bidders who will bid on subsequent advertisements for construction contracts.
Okay.
Chairman, I also think that there's a complication in that, and you're probably experiencing this yourself in your village, where the city has essentially closed the bid room, the bid and bond room at Chicago City Hall, as a COVID precaution. So for the past year, most of our procurements have been online. And I think
I see.
online bidding, particularly for construction, has changed the landscape a little bit. I think it's right. As you know, being a local government official, there are different kinds of procurement. Are you procuring, commodities, goods versus services? But I do think that changing the construction contract bidding process to an online has changed the bid landscape a little bit.
Mhm.
That being said, I mean, we have always had a smaller pool of bidders. As you know, right, we're a local government, but we're doing construction in a residential setting, which is very unusual. Like usually at the airport, people are building roads and buildings and taxiways and runways. And we in residential sound are saying, hey, we want to use public funds to do construction work in individual homeowners' homes. And so I think that is unusual. So we just have a smaller pool of bidders. Another challenge is that, as Doug mentioned, we were on hold for 2 years for odorous windows. We've been essentially on hold for the past year due to the pandemic. So we have not been in construction for over 3 years.
Right.
We did do a request for interest in the past 12 months. We did get one bidder who submitted a letter of interest. So we tried to do additional outreach. We published that request for interest for construction contractors in multiple trade publications. So we have been working hard to expand the pool of bidders.
Right.
We have not yet seen direct results from that. As Doug said, the phase 17 yielded 4 bidders, and phase 18, we get a number of firms that take out the bid spec from the Department of Procurement Services, but not all of them actually go forward with submitting a bid. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, I think is how I would summarize it.
Yeah, but I guess you're right. Historically, there's always been only 3 or 4 tops, really, bidding out anyway.
For our
From
program,
everyone.
yes.
You're right. Okay, so it's basically typical still
Yeah.
of what we've dealt with historically.
Chairman, and another thing I'll say is I have heard from one or more firms that, the supply chain is disrupted because of the pandemic.
Correct.
Doug his staff actually did some research for us about, just the price of lumber, plywood.
Right, it's gone up crazy.
Correct. And so even phenomena like that, where you think, like I as a homeowner, I wouldn't pay attention to that. If I don't need plywood, like I would never know that there's a spike in plywood pricing, but I pay attention to it at work because it's affecting our work. And I say that just because I think supply chain interruptions or disruptions are also affecting bidders' willingness to submit bids, right? Because when we advertise, it's several months before we advertise a contract, and then it's several months to get, mobilized, do your submittals, place the orders for 225 homes, commence the first home, receive payment, and keep going. So we're talking like, 12 months of sort of forecasting. And as I'm sure all of you know, the last 12 months have been anything but predictable. So nevertheless, despite all those challenges, we still try really hard to keep this program moving forward. And we are committed to doing that.
You always do a great job, so thank you.
Thank you, Chairman.
All right, so speaking of moving forward, the last thing I wanted to point out on phase 18 is the bid opening, the advertisement date for that second contract for 18 for the 174 homes. We anticipate that will be advertised in the third quarter of 2021. Does anybody else want to see anything on this report, or can we move on to phase 19?
Doug, this is Frank Ikas from 41st Ward. One question about your June 15th end date for home inspections. Is that a fungible number? If because of the COVID, you can't get in there, are you going to extend that date until such time that you can get
Yeah.
in and inspect?
Yeah, we told the homeowners that we wanted to complete their home inventory appointment by June 15th, but that's a month away.
Right.
We probably monitor that and analyze it a week or two prior to see if there's any additional concerns from the homeowners and make a decision then.
Is that decision, is that a homeowner decision or CDA decision?
Well, we need to wrap up the next contract. So we're trying to go out to bid in the third quarter. So if a homeowner doesn't want to participate in this contract, we can offer them to, if they're not comfortable yet, go into the next contract, which would be 19A, phase
Right.
19. So it's not
Well,
like we're
Doug,
gonna
what
tell the
about
homeowner-
18B? Are we just gonna move them from 18A to 18B? Or are we gonna move them from 18A to 19A?
No, these homes are already 18B. These last 13
Oh,
are gonna
so
be.
we
in-
have the 225 slots filled for the first bid package.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Oh, okay, but my question, Doug, is it the homeowner's decision that will stop it, which I understand? If they say no, then you can't help them. Or is it going to be your decision where you're waiting for the rolling positivity average to drop?
It's the homeowner's decision because the 7-day rolling average positivity rate is already below 5 in their community. But they still do not want someone in their home. So it's the
Okay.
homeowner's decision. So we can say, that's okay. You're not comfortable. We can wait a few months and put you in phase 19A.
That's fine. That's fine. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions on phase 18?
Nope.
All right, so I will pull up 19. Maybe this one will go a little quicker because I'm not going to pull up websites to look at. Let's
Doug,
see.
can you magnify a little bit more?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll scroll left to right. Phase 19, there were originally 1,121 homes eligible. I'll review each community down here on the enrollment date. Wanted to point out Chicago in the Norwood Park Historical District, the 38 homes that were from phase 17, they were invited in here. And there's one, we have this row called corrections due to additional information. This additional one home is one of those 2 homes from phase 17 that decided not to participate on phase 17. So they're included here to bump that up to 39. That other home on phase 17 is a one unit in a multi-unit building that does not meet code. And the building owner decided they did not want to bring the building up to code before we can do work in the home. So that's why we didn't move 2 from phase 17 here. So those 39 homes are essentially eligible. So I'm going to go down to this enrolled to date. So this is essentially homeowners are required to submit all their paperwork and get documents executed and power of attorney signed, all of that kind of stuff. There's 375 homes that did enroll. So in Bensonville, that's 29. Chicago, the non-historical areas is 173. Chicago and historical, 6 of those homes decided to participate. Des Plaines, 13. That one home in Norridge did not want to participate. Park Ridge, there's 74. Rosemont, 6. Schiller Park, 35. Wooddale, 26. Unincorporated Cook County, 6. And unincorporated DuPage County, 7. So for the remaining homes, I just wanted to point out one thing. We sent a letter to the 746 homes on April 28th to notify them that they never elected to participate in this phase. We told them that they are now dropped from consideration from O'Hare Phase 19. And that letter went out. Just wanted to remind you, all of these homes were invited at least 3 times, formally invited at least 3 times to participate. and they still never gave a response or decided to enroll. So that's why that letter was sent to them on April 28th to tell them they're no longer in consideration for this phase. The next section, home inventory, is completed to date. Following those positivity rates, I don't need to describe that again, but I do want to give you the ranges of when we were doing home inventory appointments. We started those for phase 19 in mid-October of 2020 and had to stop in mid-November of 2020 because of the high positivity rates. Then we resumed appointments again in February of 2021, and we are continuing to do that work right now. So you can see we only have about 46% of those complete overall. A lot of that had to do with some of the zip codes not having good rates, but now almost every area is below that 5%. So we are working hard to get these home inventory appointments conducted.
Yeah, it's a challenging time to obviously do this, but keep persevering. Good job, guys. I mean,
Yeah. So
I
just
don't know what else to say about that.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to point out, even with this COVID-19, there has been a lot of work going on. A lot of it has to do with work that doesn't have to happen in the homes. And part of that is developing construction specifications so that we are ready to go out to bid. So for phase 19A, we want to get 200 homes in there. And just to point out, we anticipate going out to bid in the third quarter of 2021. This is right on the heels of phase 18B, which we just looked at. So we want to keep this work rolling. And I think we are in a good position to be able to do that and get this contract advertised for bids as well. And then,
Doug,
yes, go ahead.
Doug, it's Brian from Norwich. We had that one home that needed to be done. So they're out of the program now. They didn't want to participate? Or is that, originally we started off with 2. And I know we went to the one home and they did not want it at all, but the other home definitely wanted it. And I think they showed it in phase, was it 17 or 18 that they were signed up. Is this that other home that did not want it?
That's correct. That's the other home.
Okay.
I'll go back to phase 18.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, that's why just checking. Just checking.
Yep.
Okay.
Phase 18, the one did decide to participate in phase 18, and the other one we wanted to get in phase 19. So we have been communicating with them and they decided not to participate.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
That's really it. That's the only other updates here for phase 19. Any other questions?
I have one maybe for Aaron. What's the next phase? Is there going to be a next phase of phase 20 or whatever? Because I know it's all this installation was supposed to be done when the airport is completed. The final runway was done. That's where it's supposed to be done at the end of the
Brian,
year.
that's a good point. So phase 19 will be the last phase under the ONP noise contour. We approached the FAA in December and said, hey, it's December of 2020. We are not going to have all these homes done by December 2021 by the time 9 Right opens. Because I wanted to be sure that we were on record a year in advance and let them know, hey, if we're on hold for 2 years for odorous windows and then we're on hold almost another year for the pandemic, we literally can't do our work. And so the FAA just said, thank you for letting us know. We understand. Keep doing what you're doing. They've already given us the grant money. And so they are encouraging us to do as much as we can, given the conditions, particularly positivity rates and all that. That being said, like I said, phase 19, it is the last under OMP. So whatever the next noise contour is, phase 20, and I'm assuming there will be a future phase. Phase 20 will be the first phase under whatever the next contour is after OMP. So
Okay, so
that's,
phase 9. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so, depending on when that is and when that's approved, I do believe, Brian, that there will be more residential sound. As we look at the map and all the people that have not enrolled over the years, there's still many people that are fairly interior to the contour. It's not like everybody's on the fringe and they're all being block grounded. There are a lot of people that are 68, 69, 70 DNL. We still have some Bensonville homeowners. that are above 70 DNL that have never enrolled. So I do think that even if the noise contour changes shape, there is a possibility that those homes will be inside the OMP noise contour and potentially inside the new noise contour, which means that likely there will be additional sound insulation, but that phase 20 will not be associated with OMP. It'll be under the next noise contour.
So phase 19 theoretically will not end till maybe 2022 or even 2023 to finally be wrapped up, right?
Correct. Doug, bring
Okay.
up your phase 19 spreadsheet. When are we advertising 19B?
19B, we want to advertise in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, so
Okay.
kind of our goal is to get paperwork, go through procurement, advertise that. And I think in our minds, yes, we would attempt to be done with construction of 19B by the end of 22.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions?
Yeah,
Aaron,
Mr. Chair, I have a, go ahead, Frank.
yeah, Aaron, do we have a list of signed denials or a list or spreadsheet showing that people actively declined to participate in this program?
We do, Frank. We
Okay.
track homeowner response two ways. One way is no response, meaning we sent letter after letter and we never got any phone calls, emails, or anything. So we code that as a no response. A different is when we do get a call or a letter and they confirm for us, actively, no, thank you, I don't want to participate, regardless of the reason. So we try to track when people tell us affirmatively, I do not want to participate, versus if we never get a response.
Okay, is that a searchable document for the aldermen or mayors of the communities that when they get calls next year, the year after, hey, I moved into this house, I want windows, can they refer back to that and say, well, the person you bought it from didn't want to go through it?
It's not a searchable database that we have on the internet. Certainly we maintain records of everybody's
Okay.
private information and their addresses. I would always encourage folks to call our eligibility number. We have two phone numbers. One is to determine if you're eligible, and one is to determine if you're in the program. One is to talk to Doug and his staff about the implementation. So we keep these records because, Frank, your question is good. We actually get questions from realtors saying,
Yeah.
hey, I'm considering listing this house. Is this house in the noise contour, yes or no? But families call, and sometimes we have a conversation about the last homeowner didn't want to participate, but you do, that's great. We're excited to get you enrolled and we will do that right away. Sometimes we say the previous homeowner did not enroll. And in the case of the homes that did not enroll in phase 19, for those that are block rounded, that is a concern. And when we were preparing for this, the FAA really required me and my office to make sure that we attempted at least 3 times every home. Some of these homes, have been eligible in multiple phases. Like they might have been eligible in phase 15, and they've had 4 or 5 years to enroll, but we really made an extra push with phase 19 because we had a sentence in our letters that was underlined, like this is the last phase under the OMP noise contour. So feel free to always refer people to our office, the eligibility number, which is 773-894-3255. And that should be, that's on our website. But let me tell you again, 773-894-3255. Now that phone number is exclusively for RSIP eligibility. That's what we call the RSIP inquiry line. You're inquiring, is my house eligible? And that's important because it's the house that's eligible, not the family. So whether they sell the house or whatever, it's the house that is physically located inside or touching the noise contour. And so we use that as a way to, keep our records straight and say, oh, this is what happened with the prior family. But feel free to refer people to our office.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Chair, it's Ernie in Park Ridge.
I had a feeling you had one.
Thanks. Aaron, if I remember correctly, the redrawing of the noise contour is build out plus 5 years, correct?
Yes, that's what's in the record of decision.
All right. And so those houses that never opted in, of which, as we know, Park Ridge is a big violator of that. Given the efforts that we tried, those people who are, on the outskirts of the 65 DNL may not qualify, given what we think will happen with the new noise contour.
That's correct. So Ernie, that lobe of the contour is pretty interesting because you're capturing the flight paths for 9 center and 9 right in the same lobe because they're, they're relatively close. So I think, one question is, does the contour stay approximately the same shape, or rather the same size, but it changes shape, right? Or does it grow or does it shrink? And I worry most about the homes that are being block grounded under the current contour. I think, as I said, if you're fairly interior, the closer you are to a flight path, the more interior you are to that noise contour, the better your chances of perhaps being in a future contour. But you never know.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And thanks for everybody's efforts. I just make a note, based on Frank's question and comments. I have found very helpful to this day the property locator webpage. Frank, I'd encourage you just to look at that because that helps. It might not answer the question that you have, which is who made the decision, which property owner, but at least you can very quickly pull up an address. And I've done it multiple times in the last week of pulling up an address and being able to say, yeah, you've been there 6 years. The property owner before you apparently didn't do it, and neither did you. At least it gives you an idea of which house we've actually worked on. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks,
Welcome.
Ernie.
So I had one last question. Back to the odorless windows. Is there odor still dissipating from those windows, or do they stop, or it just continues the odor?
Chairman, it's some of both. We still get new inquiries for homeowners that may be experiencing a problem or noticing it for the first time. I believe there still are some homes where the odor has not gone away. The odor remains. It might be of a lesser concentration, but yes, that is still something we're working on. Through state law, we have an entirely separate advisory committee, separate from the ONCC or the MNCC. There's the state advisory committee that has met 9 times between September and now. And they are overseeing our efforts to make sure that we get those windows replaced. So that is still a problem we're working on. And yes, we still get new inquiries.
Okay, I was just curious. I thought maybe they just stopped.
Unfortunately, no. That problem
okay.
did not solve itself. That's going to take government time and effort and dollars to fix that.
Okay, so thank you. The next ONC Residential Sound Insulation Committee meeting is September 29th, 2021. Unsure if we're going to be doing Zoom or in person, but Jeanette will let us know. And we'll also move on to comments from the audience if we have any. I don't think there is any. So I need a motion to adjourn in a second.
Motion to adjourn.
Rosemont seconds.
So we need a roll call.
Bensonville,
Yes.
City of Chicago 41st Ward,
Yes.
Des Plaines,
Yes.
Melrose Park,
Yes.
Norwich,
Yes.
Park Ridge,
Yes.
Rosemont,
Yes.
and Schiller Park. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Hey,
you,
guys.
everyone.
Everyone.
Bye,
Have a great
everybody.
day.
Have a
Stay
great
healthy,
summer.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Ralph.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Amy.
Okay. I was trying to
I was
figure
gonna say,
out
you-
how do I get
you-
rid of
you-
everyone else?
You got to be tired of clicking on these things.
What's going on?
Well, what's going on is the category, Janetta, 1,600 feet apparently does make a difference.
Oh, gosh. Let me
I mean,
stop the
it's-
recording for a minute. Hold on one second.